what was before. The universe is 13.8 billion years old, a birth certificate for reality. But there's a problem with that. Years are made of time. So when we say the universe is 13.8 billion years old, we're already assuming time exists. If time began with the universe, then asking what came before the universe might not make sense. There would be no before. There would be no cosmic waiting room, no empty darkness, no cosmic loading screen. But could something exist outside of time? Could something be deeper than time? Could something be older than time itself? Well, before we ask what came before the universe, we have to address if there was even a before at all. More than 1600 years ago, Augustine of Hippo was already wrestling with this problem. People would ask, what was God doing before creating the universe? And Augustine's answer was surprisingly modern. Maybe there was no before. Maybe time itself was part of creation. But that's the thing about time. We talk about it like it's a thing, but it doesn't behave like most things. You can't put time in a jar. You can't physically point to it. You can measure motion, you can measure change, you can measure how long it takes your microwave to turn soup into lava. But time itself, it's slippery. For Isaac Newton, time was basically a universal clock. It ticked forward at the same rate everywhere, whether anything existed or not. Then Einstein came along and made everything way more complicated. In Einstein's theory of relativity, time isn't separate from the universe. It's woven together with space into something called spacetime. And time doesn't tick the same way for everyone. It can stretch, it can slow down, it can behave differently depending on gravity and speed. It's real enough that GPS satellites have to account for tiny differences in time. So time isn't just a background clock. It's part of the physical structure of the universe, which means when the universe began, space-time may have started with it. And this is where the Big Bang gets misunderstood. A lot of people picture the Big Bang as an explosion happening somewhere in darkness, but that's not really what the theory says. The Big Bang was space itself expanding, and if space and time are linked, then that expansion may have been the beginning of time as we know it. That's why some physicists say that there may not have been a before the Big Bang, but only because before is a time word. It only works if time already exists. The question of before are made of concepts that stop working when you push them too far. But humans hate that. We really hate it. Our brains are built for sequence. First this happened, then that happened. Cause and effect, beginning, middle, end. We understand reality as a story, and every story needs a first page. So when someone says time began, our brains immediately ask, okay, but what came before that? And then physics tries to gaslight us. Still, not every theory says that time definitely began with the Big Bang. Maybe the universe went through a previous phase. Maybe there was a bounce where an earlier universe contracted and then expanded again. Maybe time extends beyond our observable universe in a way we can't currently test or even fathom. Which brings us to the idea of eternal inflation, where the universe we see is just one region in a much larger process that keeps producing new universes. In that picture, our Big Bang might not be the beginning of everything, just the beginning of our local cosmic neighborhood. Like moving into a new subdivision and assuming you've discovered all of civilization. Then there are cyclic universe models, where the cosmos expands, changes, collapses, or transforms, and somehow begins again. These ideas are appealing because they give time a kind of endlessness, no ultimate beginning, just cycles over and over. These ideas are fascinating, but they're also speculative, which is a polite science word meaning maybe, interesting, plausible, I don't know. And even these theories run into the same problem. What is time really? Some physicists think that time might not be fundamental. It might be emergent. That means time could arise from something deeper. A single molecule doesn't really have temperature in the everyday sense. Temperature is what appears when you have many particles interacting. Maybe time's like that. If that's true, then maybe something could be older than time, but not in the older sense of it having existed for years, because years require time, but more fundamental than time, beneath it. The thing time comes from. So maybe the real question isn't, can something be older than time? Maybe it's, could something exist without time? Because existence seems to require time. To exist means to persist from one moment to the next. But without time, there's no was, no is, no will be. Something outside time wouldn't be old. It wouldn't be young. It would just be, which is either profound or deeply irritating. This is why the idea shows up not just in physics, but in philosophy and theology. Many traditions have imagined something eternal, not as something that lasts for infinite time, but as something beyond time altogether. And that distinction matters, because forever means time still goes on and something lives through it. Timeless means time doesn't apply at all. And that's a very hard thing for the human brain to imagine, because our brains are little time machines. Your entire sense of self is built from time. You're the person you remember being, the person you expect to become, and the person currently watching this video. And maybe that's why humans keep asking this question. It's not just about the universe, it's about us. We don't just live in time, we're made of it. So when we ask if something can be older than time, we're really asking if reality has a deeper layer than the one our brains were built to understand. The human brain likes answers it can turn into a timeline. But the universe doesn't owe us a timeline. It doesn't even owe us a decent metaphor. So, could something be older than time? Maybe the best answer is not if older means what we usually mean, but something could be deeper than time, something that doesn't wait, doesn't age, doesn't begin or end. And if that makes your brain feel like it just tried to bite its own teeth, well, that's kind of the point. Liked what your weird brain just learned? Hit subscribe. If not, that's okay. Time will continue moving forward, and eventually you'll forget about this video. No hard feelings, it's just physics.